I'm Matt from the Pickleball Clinic, and here's how to hit an overhead slam. The overhead slam is one of the most fun shots in pickleball because it's one of the few times you really get to smash that ball. But there are a few key pieces of technique to keep in mind to make sure you execute the shot correctly, because there's nothing that hurts more than missing an overhead slam in the net. The first tip is we want to make sure that we're turning sideways to hit this shot. As soon as we recognize that the ball is going up, we want to make sure that we're pivoting with our dominant foot. So I'm a righty, so for me it's going to be my right foot, and we're turning back this way. So I'm going to pivot here, take my dominant foot back. It's important that we go sideways because this allows us to shuffle backwards. If someone hits a pretty good lob, we're ideally going to have to move back to get to that ball. If we backpedal back, we're going to risk falling over. We never want to backpedal in pickleball. We always want to turn sideways if we have to move backwards. The second tip is as soon as that ball comes up, I'm going to raise my hands as I pivot. So when I go back to pivot, I'm going to take my paddle hand up to about a 90-degree angle in my elbow. So again, I'm a righty here. So my right elbow is going to have a 90-degree bend when I take my paddle back. It's important that I get here because this is going to be our power position for an overhead slam. If I'm just reaching up this way, it's going to be really hard to get that power on the ball. So I want to load up with this 90-degree bend right here. A little analogy here, if you guys ever watch baseball players, you would never see a baseball player throw a ball like this. You would never see a pitcher throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball like this. They're always getting to this 90-degree right angle here with their dominant elbow in order to execute the throw. This motion is very, very similar to throwing the ball. Baseball, softball, football, any sport where you're throwing, that's pretty much the same motion right here. And then with my left arm, my non-dominant arm, I'm gonna reach up. A good little pointer here is you can actually point up to the ball. So as you see that ball come up over your head, you can point up at it. That's gonna remind you to leave that left arm up. It's really, really important that we leave our left arm up, because if our left arm's here and I'm swinging up, my motion is gonna drop. My non-dominant arm is what's gonna guide the motion. If I wanna reach up for the ball and get up on top of it, I have to start with the left arm reaching up. There's really no way to hit a good overhead slam without using that non-dominant arm. Then our third tip is as we go back and we prepare to hit that ball, we want to drop the paddle back behind our head this way. So I'm dropping it behind my head and then I'm reaching up towards it. So it's almost like I'm trying to high five the ball. I'm trying to connect with the ball with a straight arm all the way up. Once I get there, I snap down and bring the motion down. So we're going up and then coming down. For all you tennis players out here, this motion is pretty much the same as a serve. And to follow up on this last tip, I'm going to share with you guys one of the best tips I ever received as a tennis player when I was still learning the game back in high school. When we're serving, hitting an overhead, any of these overhead type motions, we want to break it down into two parts. There's one part that's going up and a second part that's coming down. And those two parts are completely separate and they're divided by your contact point where you're neutral. So my first object is to go up to the ball. When I make contact with the ball, I'm gonna pause briefly. I'm gonna stop so I'm not going up or down. And then the second part of the motion is coming down over the ball. We wanna make sure that we're not conflating those two parts, because if you're coming down while you're going up for the ball, you're just gonna miss it in the net. If I'm going up instead of coming down, the ball is gonna soar out. So we wanna make sure that we're going up, contact, and then coming down.